Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be painting this little fat watercolor bunny for you. I actually follow Maria Raczynska. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but she's a really good watercolorist. And this is one of the real-time videos that she posted on her Patreon page. And I'm painting it now, and it's while I was painting this, and with anything else that I have been painting that have been of her tutorials or anything like that, I realized that, I am not, I don't know how to say this, but I'm not an artist. I don't consider myself an artist, but I don't really consider myself anything, to be honest. I mean, I know if you've been watching my videos for any length of time, or if you know me personally, you know that I am, I guess, by society standards, a scientist, because that is my profession. That is what I do. But I don't personally consider myself a scientist. I don't consider myself anything really, but that can be good or bad depending on how you look at it. For me, as far as not considering myself an artist, a lot of times that kind of takes the joy out of painting or creating art. There are other factors that prevent me from starting, but in general, I feel like, every time I look down at a blank piece of paper, I get pretty intimidated. I think a lot of people can relate to that if you do any kind of art, whether it be drawing, painting, or whatever. I don't consider myself a great drawer either. I don't know how to say that. I don't draw very well, in my opinion, and I feel like it kind of affects how I paint. So going back to, watching Maria's paintings and stuff like that, a lot of times she'll show close-ups of some areas of her paintings, and I look at that, I'm just like, it's so interesting because it's almost Monet-like. A lot of her paintings are very realistic looking, but in a previous video I discussed that I'm not really that fond of realism. I actually prefer to look at something that obviously looks like a painting, and she actually crosses, or like kind of straddles that line between having realism but also having it look like a painting for me, and I really appreciate that, and I really like it. So that's why I follow her and I get a lot of tips from her. But when I look at these little close-ups, I see these kind of like just blobs of paint. I guess they're strategically placed, just blobs of paint. And when I was painting this bunny, basically, as long as you know where your lights and shadows are supposed to be, this is kind of a white bunny, not really white, there's a lot of brown in it, but it's kind of supposed to be a white fluffy bunny. But if you don't have that drawing or that perspective down when you're doing these kinds of paintings, then it doesn't matter how strategic you place your blobs, it's going to look kind of stupid. I don't want to say stupid, but it's going to not look right. And I've had many failures of paintings, many failures. They just kind of go in my file of, stuff that sucks. I guess. I don't know. I don't really have a file of stuff that sucks, but you know what I mean. I just kind of file it away and just chalk it up as a fail and just move on. But a lot of times, when you're painting these things, you're putting a lot of time and effort into them. And I work a full-time job, and I do these YouTube videos, and I do other things. I take care of, my husband, I go visit friends, and I do all these, I clean the house, I do all kinds of things. So when I sit down and I paint, I almost expect it to be perfect, because if I'm going to take the time out and sit there and paint, I don't want it to look like crap. I want it to look great and presentable and whatever else. But I guess at the same time, I kind of judge myself a little harshly because I have an image in my mind of what I feel like a painting should look like, or, something like that. And then if it doesn't meet that expectation, then, automatically it's bad. But that's not necessarily the case. A lot of times I'll paint something, it's not really necessarily what I had in my head. I get mad about it, I file it away. But then if I go back and I look at it, I'm like, this really wasn't that bad. I don't know why I was throwing a hissy about it before. In this case with this bunny, I feel like it was good enough. I didn't feel like it was great, but it was also because I was painting it based off of a tutorial that I, feel like this particular artist is amazing, and it didn't look exactly like hers. So I spent probably probably about an hour on this painting, maybe. But I was painting it really fast too, because when I was looking at the video or watching the video, which you can see the little corner of my iPad there at the bottom or on the side there, I was watching the video while doing this. She was moving really fast. She's a seasoned painter. She's used to doing this. For me, I can't move that fast, but I also was frustrated with myself. So I'm not going to pause this. I'm just going to paint this as she paints it, do it really fast, and go from there. And what I realized is that, especially with watercolor, and I'm not really as versed in acrylic, actually I am with oil, but not with acrylic. It doesn't have to be perfect. So like I was saying earlier, you're just kind of strategically placing blobs of paint. And I remember one of my most favorite paintings growing up in school is we had to do kind of a Monet-like painting where, if you know Monet, it's just kind of blobs of paint strategically placed. You stand far away and it looks like something really intricate and awesome. And not to say that watercolor looks only good from far away, because obviously it doesn't. It looks pretty good close up too. But my point is that it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. If you're not going for realism, but what you want to do is kind of give the illusion of realism. So I'm kind of contradicting myself, but you want to take your time to know where to put those blobs of paint. You have to understand how your paint behaves. So like in this case, I'm using a mixture of Daniel Smith paints and Holbein paints, and probably something else too. I think just like a Van Gogh paint, and they all spread differently. So if you plop it down on there, a Holbein paint's not going to spread like a Sennelier paint is going to spread. And you should have seen my comparison video on that about the neutral tint. But yeah, just know how your paint behaves, and being able to apply that into your final product is kind of how, it's just kind of the trick to doing it. But ultimately, don't compare yourself to others, because I can paint something like this. Like, say I didn't even look at Maria's painting and I painted this, I'd be like, oh, this turned out pretty good. But then I looked at hers and then I was like, mine was not really good. I do that all the time to myself, and I really shouldn't do that. I felt like I was pretty good artistically before I started watching other people's art channels and stuff like that, because then I was just like, I'm not that great. But I guess the reality is they're probably thinking the same thing about themselves. So just take that advice for it is, and just try not to beat yourself up over it. If you are an artist, or if you like to do art in any form, just encourage yourself, encourage others, and yeah, that's all I can say about that. But anyway, here's the final painting. I'm not going to list it for sale because it was a painting of somebody else's. But just to give you an idea of what it looks like, kind of final product, and how, if you look at certain areas, they're just not perfect. They're kind of wonky looking, but as a whole, it looks pretty good, I think. If you're interested in subscribing, just click on my initials there, and if you'd like to receive notifications when I post, just click on the bell. And if you like this video, just give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time for another deep thoughts of some sorts. But anyway, see you later. Bye.